Well, we've got some great questions for Pat. Crystal writes, can a saved person speak curses over someone and hinder what God could do in that person's life? Can a Christian speak down in unbelief and still be saved?
Well, of course you can speak doubt and unbelief. I mean, you have freedom over your mouth, and the mouth it can be a well. It can be a well of cursing or a well of blessing. And that's why James is saying, look, you've got your mouth coming out. Do you want impure water coming out? The same one that you bless people, you're also going to curse people. Can you do something like that? You'd pollute the freedom that God gave you. But can it happen? Yes, it can happen. Should it happen? Of course not.
I think what they're asking is, can the saved person speak curses over someone and hinder what God wants to do?
You can hinder. If I tell you your life is a mess, you have no hope, no future. I don't know why you're even here on earth. I mean, if I said that to you, I mean,
words have power. They do.
Of course they do. And if I said to you,
and I would rebuke those words.
There's a beautiful future ahead of you. There's hope and there's joy. The words are powerful. And can a believer do that? Yes.
Yeah, okay, so don't do that. All right, Janice writes, my family is struggling with the realization that my sister-in-law is stealing and defrauding our 90-year-old father, who's been living with my brother and her for 2 years. She used 2 of his credit cards that our family did not know about for a total of $35,000. We filed a police report, but my siblings don't want to press charges as long as he pays my dad back because of my brother and 2 young daughters. The lies, deceit, and denial from my sister-in-law are horrifying. I want her to be accountable for all that she's done. What do I do? This is wrong.
Well, first of all, don't be bitter and don't hate her. That's the start. But I do think a thing like that needs to be straightened out. You need to talk to your brother-in-law. You need to get involved with whoever it is. It's like one of those times when all the family comes together with an intervention and goes after somebody who's on drugs. Now, that woman is stealing, and she needs to be confronted by the entire family. And if she won't receive it, I think it would be perfectly appropriate. That estate belongs to all of your family, and if she's violating it and wasting it, then she's stealing money from all the family, and maybe the family needs it. So you can take a civil action to get some kind of a restraining order against her from doing that sort of thing. And it's not nasty to bring a lawsuit against somebody who's stealing money from the family. But the first thing you do is an intervention where everybody comes together and said, look, here's the record, here's the credit card, here are the receipts, and it's so many $1,000s. And I want any of this other to stop. If you steal again, we're going to bring court against you, bring a lawsuit. All right. Whatever.
All right. This viewer writes in, a dear friend of ours is struggling with finances and does tithe what little she can. Her dad bought his grandson, her nephew, a $600 gaming system and $200 in games and expects her to cough up half of the cost, or $400. He didn't ask her to go in half before he bought it, or she would have said she can't. I think this is outrageous. She doesn't want to upset him because he has always been there when she was growing up, and she could always count on him. What advice would you give me to give her?
Well, it's the same thing. You go to him and say, you can't do this. You can't impose on me. I haven't got the money to pay these bills. You can't charge. It's what's happening in the federal government. We're spending grandchildren's patrimony, and they don't have a chance to say no. And daddies shouldn't waste the money of their children. But you go to him, and you just got to talk this one out. And sure, he's always been there, but you can't let him get away.
How can you go and say now, after the fact, you have to go in half? You owe me half. You owe me $200.
Well, it's outrageous, but that's what people do. And then he'll, but you're supposed to do that. I mean, you have an obligation, and they'll put a guilt trip on you. Don't let them do that, but get witnesses together, all of you together, and go after him on this.
That's what it is, the guilt trip. All right.
Yeah.
This viewer writes in, my 80-year-old mother has always been desperately controlling. Now that she is my dad's caretaker, she only allows me to see or talk to him when I do what she wants. Dad dearly loves my visits, and he gets lonely. I'm concerned that soon I will not be allowed to visit him at all. When Dad began suffering from dementia, Mom took me out of the will, telling me she'll put me back when I change my life to suit her. Dad doesn't know this. Dad has now become her leverage in my life. I have no siblings to turn to, and Dad has no other living relatives or friends. What should I do?
That's a great, it's your own mother and your own father, and your own mother won't let you talk to your own father. It's weird. So it's one of those problems. What are you going to do? I mean, he's getting dementia, and maybe she's got dementia.
Man, she's a tough bird.
When he dies, she's taken you out of his will. She can't do that. I think the time may come that the little intervention, now you can get a lawyer to see, as
Isn't that sad? You had to get a lawyer to see your own father, and your mom was not letting?
Having to do with the will,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
you could think that she's taken money away. But when the split comes, she's going to die. And I don't know what to say. Look, I'm sorry, I can't take on family responsibilities like that. That's more than I can imagine. But the biggest thing is you need to talk to people on a deal like that. I don't know what else you can do. In terms of the will, you can get a lawyer to help you on it.